The first part of our DLR today says to place a check mark by the correctly written compound sentences. This is something we've actually talked about before. That's pretty good. Our compound sentences are two complete sentences that we combined, made them into one. The last time we talked about compound sentences, I told you that when you want to make a compound sentence, you have to use things. Who can remind me, what are the two things that we need to use if we want to combine two complete sentences? Okay?
A fanboy and a comma.
We need a comma and one of our fanboy words, our conjunctions. Very, very good. So those are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. So we need to keep an eye out for those things as we look at these sentences. Number 1, dolphins are carnivores and they are quite intelligent. Since we have had some practice before, who can tell me what they think? Should sentence 1 get a check mark, or should sentence 1 not get a check mark? Do we think that it's a compound sentence or not? Kylie, what do you think? Compound sentence or no compound sentence?
It is a compound sentence.
Absolutely great. We have two complete sentences. Number 1, remember we've talked about this before as well. If you need to check to see if something is a complete sentence, you can say, I believe that, and then read your sentence. If it all makes sense together, you know it's complete. So I believe that dolphins are carnivores. That's a complete sentence. I believe that they are quite intelligent. That's another complete sentence. They have a comma. They have one of our fanboy words. They used and. So sentence 1 gets a comma. What about sentence 2? Female dolphins are called cows and males are called bulls. Female dolphins are called cows and males are called bulls. What do you think? Who can give me their idea? Do you think sentence 2 should get a check mark, or should sentence 2 not get a check mark? Violet, what do you think? Check mark, no check mark?
On a smaller level that has a big effect.
Check mark.
Check mark. Very good. Again, we have two complete sentences. I believe that female dolphins are called cows. I believe that males are called bulls. Also complete, and they use a comma along with their fanboy word. Again, they use the conjunction and. Sentence 2 gets a check mark. Take a look at sentence 3. Bottlenose dolphins are the most common and well-known type of dolphin. Bottlenose dolphins are the most common and well-known type of dolphin. Ezekiel, what do you think? Sentence 3. Should it get a check mark or no check mark?
A check mark.
Check mark. Sentence 3 should not. They do use a fanboy word, but there's two problems with it. Number 1, sentence 3 does not have a comma. So if they were going to be combining two complete sentences, they have one of the things we need, but not the other one. We need both of them, the comma and the conjunction, the fanboy word. Now, the other thing is they don't have two complete sentences here. They've only got one. If I look at the beginning, I believe that bottlenose dolphins are the most common. That doesn't make sense. The most common what? The most common animal? The most common dolphin? The most common fish? The most common person? We don't know. It's kind of like they stopped in the middle of that sentence. Here is what tells us, or what explains what they mean by most common. The most common what? The most common, well-known type of dolphin. So this, even though they do have a fanboy word, isn't a compound sentence. So we can't just look for fanboy words and then automatically think, yes, it's a compound sentence. We have to remember it has to have a comma, has to have a conjunction, and you need to make sure that there are two complete sentences. It can't just be one sentence. But I do like that you looked for that fanboy word. That's a big part of combining sentences, and it's very important that it has that. We just need to be more careful and look for the other parts as well. Sentence 1 gets a check mark. Sentence 2 gets a check mark, but not sentence 3. Okay. We've worked with these before too. It says circle the prefix, underline the root word, and write the meaning of the word. Circle the prefix, underline the root word, and write the meaning of the word. So first let me drag my circles and my underlines here. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me get my lines out of the way. Okay. We've talked about prefixes before. Prefixes are small parts of a word that help to change the meaning. The last time we talked about prefixes, I told you all that there was one place where you're gonna find prefixes, one place in the word. Who remembers, if I'm looking for prefixes, where in the word should I look for the prefix? Kylie, where should I look for prefixes?
At the beginning.
In the beginning of our words. So in the first word, illegal. The first word is illegal. If I look at the beginning, it does have a prefix. The prefix in illegal is IL. IL, just 2 letters. Remember, prefixes are usually pretty short. So I'd say at most you're looking at the first 4 letters, but usually it's the first 2 or the first 3 letters. In this case, it's just 2. IL is our prefix, and legal is the root word. Who knows what illegal means? If you say that something is illegal, what are you saying? Jada? Christopher, let's make sure we're paying attention.
That you're not supposed to do it?
That's not a bad way to put it. So, illegal could be an action or it could be an object. But saying that you're not supposed to do it is not a bad way to describe it. Illegal means that something is against the rules, that it's not allowed. The prefix ill helps us out with that because ill means not. So it means not legal or not allowed. So illegal could mean like against the law, like the ones that everyone has to follow, or it could also mean like in a sport like football or soccer. They all have rules to them.
Do we have to do?
Yes,
do
sir.
we have to do this?
Yes, sir. So it could mean like in a sport, like in football or soccer, because they have rules that you have to follow too. For example, one of the things in soccer is you're not allowed to use your hands unless you're the goalie. So something illegal in soccer would be like if you were in the middle of the field and instead of kicking the ball ahead of you, you bent down and picked up the ball and just ran it over to the other goal and tried to throw the ball in. You can't do that in soccer. If you were playing basketball You could use your hands. But you have to make sure that you're dribbling it. You can't just carry it like this in front of you. You have to be dribbling it as you're going forward or as you're moving around. So illegal just means that it's not allowed. Whether it's not allowed because of a law or not allowed because of a rule for a sport that you might be playing. Inactive. Inactive also has a prefix. Inactive, again, has a 2-letter prefix, IN, and our root word is active. Who wants to take a guess and tell me what inactive means? What do you think inactive means? Kylie, what do you think? Inactive.
Not active.
Not active. So IN is another prefix that means not.
No.
So not active, or we can say no activity.
Could you mute me, please?
Sure. So not active or no activity. Oh, sorry. Extra I. There. So not active or no activity. So inactive could be something like, they describe some volcanoes as being inactive. So that means there's not any kind of magma moving or bubbling or coming to the surface, that it's not in the process of erupting or getting ready to erupt. Sometimes they also call it dormant. Inactive could also be something that you just don't really use anymore. So sometimes, well, like for different video games, like your PlayStation, your Xbox, you have an account that you get on to play on those systems. And if you don't use it for a long time, it'll show you as inactive, means you're not using it. You're not on it, you're not playing any games, you're not talking to anyone, there's no activity. The last word for today also has a 2-letter prefix. I am. Im. And our root word is possible. Who can tell me what impossible means? What do you think impossible means? Nakai, what does it mean if you say something's impossible?
That you can do it.
That you can do it?
That you can't.
That you can't do it. So impossible means that it's not possible, because im also means not. So not possible, or that you can't do it. So you can say that you can't do it, or it can't be done. However you like to put it. So can't do it or can't be done. Either one of those. When you say something's impossible, you're not saying that it's hard, that it's difficult to do, or that you have to try really hard. Right now, Nakai, don't worry about that. I just want you to focus on our work, okay? Okay. Okay, Jada. Thank you for letting me know, though, Chase. So, means that you can't do it or that it can't be done. You're not saying that it's tough, that it's difficult, or that you have to work really hard. You're saying that you can't do it. Like, for instance, Nakai, if I told you, hey, Nakai, I want you to flap your arms and fly around the room. You could try really, really hard. You could try for a day, a week, a year. But if you're just flapping your arms like this, are you ever going to lift off the ground and fly around like a bird, Nakai? No. Because we're not birds, right? No matter how hard or how fast you're flapping your arms around, you're not going to fly that way. So that would be impossible. partly because of gravity and partly because of the way our bodies are designed. Birds' bodies are designed very well to be able to do that, but our bodies, not so much. Arms don't work very well with that. Wings work a lot better. So if we had wings, I mean, we might be able to. But since we just have arms and hands, can't fly around. The good news is we can grab things and use them pretty well, like water bottles. So there's good and bad to it. Let's zoom out a little bit and take a look at our sentence. We're going to try to find all the mistakes that they left in this sentence. It says Connor is a good musician and Dylan is a good artist. Connor is a good musician and Dylan is a good artist. Who can find one mistake in this sentence? Nakai, you found one? What's one mistake that they left?
Connor needs to be capitalized.
Very good. Why, Nakai? Why are we capitalizing Connor?
Because it's a name and it's the beginning of a sentence.
Awesome. 2 reasons to capitalize it. Number 1, the beginning of a sentence. Beginning of the sentence always gets capitalized. Number 2, it's somebody's name. Names always get capitalized. So Connor definitely needs to be capitalized. Besides capitalizing Connor, there's still a few mistakes left. Who can tell me another mistake that they left in this sentence? Kylie?
Capitalize Daniel
Dylan, capitalize Dylan. Why?
because it's a name.
It's a name, and even though it's not the beginning of a sentence, it should still be capitalized because it is somebody's name. So we capitalize Connor, we capitalize Dylan. There are 3 more mistakes left. Alexa, found one?
That's not how you spell musician.
That's not how you spell musician. Can you tell me how you think it should be spelled?
I forgot.
Try your best. If you make a mistake, I'll let you know.
Okay. M U
Yep.
S I S
Close. C.
I
Hmm?
O
Close.
N.
A. So not
N?
O, but A. And then, what's the last letter?
N.
N. Very good. So M-U-S-I-C-I-A-N. So the beginning of it looks like music, just like regular music, and you add I-A-N to the end. And so you know it's someone who's playing the music and not just music that you listen to. But you're right, musician is not spelled correctly. We've got 2 mistakes left. Both of the mistakes left are punctuation mistakes. That means there's a mark or something that we forgot to put into our sentence. Chase, what do you think? The period, where, Chase? Where do we put that period? Where do you think the period should go in the sentence? At the end of it. The end of a sentence always needs some kind of punctuation. A period, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. We're not asking any questions, and we're not shouting. So a period is the one we need. Kaylee, let's make sure we're not playing with the camera. One last punctuation mistake. Jaylene, what do you think? What's that last punctuation mistake they made? So we already know there's a period at the end, or there should be a period at the end. But what's the other punctuation mistake? The other mark that they're missing? Make sure we're focused, Bella. What's the mistake they're missing, Jaylene? Hang on, Nakai. If Jaylene needs help, then we'll ask.
Where it says, or it has the musician after it.
And what do we do?
Need
What do
a
we put
comma.
there? We go. Very, very
Comma?
good. We need a comma. I see that they have a fanboy word. And if I put a comma here, that means I have 2 complete sentences. And I do have 2 complete sentences here. Number 1, I believe that Connor is a good musician. That's a sentence on its own. Number 2, I believe that Dylan is a good artist. Also a sentence on its own. Since I have 2 complete sentences, I already have the fanboy word, I just need to add the comma. So our sentence, if it's all correct, should be capital Connor is a good musician, which is spelled or should be spelled M-U-S-I-C-I-A-N, comma, and capital Dylan is a good artist, period. I'm glad we found that one because, again, the commas, since they're so small, people forget them a lot. I guess because they're not very big, so they're easy to make. Bella, Brianna, make sure we're focused. All right, this next part is new. It says write the comparative and the superlative forms of the adjective. Write the comparative and the superlative forms of the adjectives. When you have an adjective like fast, you also have different forms of that adjective, different versions of it. They're called comparative, superlative. A regular adjective describes one thing by itself. So you can say that something or someone is fast. You could say Nakai. Nakai runs fast. I'm describing how he runs. Or I'm describing Nakai. Nakai is fast. But if I'm going to compare 2 things, like if I'm going to compare Nakai to somebody else, if I said something like, I don't know, Nakai is fast, but Jaylene is. I wouldn't say Jaylene is fast, because if I'm comparing Jaylene to Nakai, I need to use a comparative form. So it wouldn't be fast, it would be faster. Usually with the comparative form, you add an ER to the end of that adjective. So fast becomes faster. So Nakai is fast, but Jaylene is faster. We're comparing the 2. And I don't know for real if you are faster or not than Nakai. I'm just using examples. Now a superlative. A superlative is when you're comparing not just 2 things, or in this case 2 people. If you're comparing 3 people or more than 3 people, like everybody. So comparative is just if you're comparing 2 things, like in this case Nakai and Jaylene. But if I want to compare, let's say, the whole class or the whole school, then I would have to use a superlative. Superlative is like the most. So in this case, like the most fast. But we wouldn't say the most fast. I could say Nakai is fast. Jaylene is faster because I'm comparing. But now if I want to say in the whole class or even in the whole school, depending on what I'm comparing, I would say very close, Christopher. But I could say Christopher is the fastest. And that one is going to be just the word fast, but instead of an ER ending, it's EST. Go from fast to faster to fastest. And that pattern is going to work for most of our comparative and our superlative forms. ER for comparative and EST superlative. So like brave. If I'm just going to describe one person or one thing, Bailey is brave. Brave works okay. If I'm going to compare two people or two things, Bailey is brave, but Violet is, I wouldn't say but Violet is brave, I would say but Violet is braver. And here, since I already had an E, I don't have to add another one. It's not bravier, it's braver. Just an ER at the end. And if I'm going to use superlative, I want to compare not just two things, but three things or everything. Bailey is brave, but Violet is braver. And Noah is the bravest. I would use the EST ending. So BRAVEST. And again, because there's an E at the end already, I don't have to go and add another one. Not bravest, bravest. The same thing works for dark. So if you're going to describe like the color of something, like let's say, well, you could say something like, it's dark outside. You're just describing what it's like outside. So it's dark outside, but, and if you're going to compare it, it's dark outside, but, let's see, what might be darker than outside? Ooh, your closet, because the closet usually doesn't have, the door's usually closed and the light's not usually on in the closet. So it's dark outside, but my closet is darker. And again, we'd use that ER ending. And then if you're going to compare something, another thing, which means you'd have three, or compare it against everything. It's dark outside, but my closet is darker. But, I don't know, I guess a tunnel would be pretty dark. So it's dark outside, but my closet is darker. And that tunnel is the darkest. Again, you'd use EST. DARKEST. Let's try the next one together. Funny. Funny is just if you're describing one person or thing. Sebastian is funny. But if you're going to compare, two things. Sebastian is funny, but Bella is what? What word would I use there? Alexa, what would I use?
Funniest?
Not yet. I'm just comparing two things, just Sebastian and Bella. So it's just comparative. I wouldn't say funny anymore, because if it's just one thing, it's funny. Sebastian is funny. But Bella is what? What was the ending we were using for comparative?
Veneer.
What pattern do I see here?
ER?
ER. So it's not funniest, it's funnier. That's if I'm using comparative, just two things. So FUNN, and then here is a little bit different. Instead of a Y, it's IER. So Sebastian is funny, but Bella is funnier. And now if I'm going to make it superlative, I'm going to compare everyone. Sebastian's funny, but Bella's funnier. And Brianna is the what? What word would I use there? Who can tell me? Jada? What would I use here, Jada? Let's see. If Jada needs help, Brianna, then you're up next.
Funniest.
Funniest. Very, very good. And just like with funnier, the Y changes to an I. So Funniest. We go from funny, funnier, to funniest. The last part, or the last box for today, isn't having us look for any problems. It's having us combine the sentences again. We have two sentences. Dolphins have excellent eyesight. Dolphins also use echolocation to find objects. And they want to know what is the best way to combine them. Answer choice A says dolphins have excellent eyesight, but they also use echolocation to find objects. Answer choice B says dolphins have excellent eyesight, but they also use echolocation to find objects. And answer choice C says dolphins have excellent eyesight, they also use echolocation to find objects. Who can tell me what answer choice they think is best? Is it answer choice A, answer choice B, or answer choice C? Ezekiel, let's make sure we're focused, sir. Jaylene, what do you think? Is it answer choice A, B, or C?
I think it's A
Okay, and why do you think A?
because where it says eyesight, you don't have to. No, it's a B
Okay, why B?
because after eyesight, you don't have to put a period. You could put a comma and then put a fanboy.
Very good job. And I like that you noticed it and you changed your answer. Very good. Answer choice A is very close. Got a fanboy word, but they forgot something very important, like we talked about earlier. They forgot the comma. And you're right. You don't have to put a period there if you're going to combine the sentences. If you're going to combine them, you switch the period to a comma and you put in one of our fanboy words. Here they use the conjunction but because they're showing opposites. Even though the dolphins can see very well, they also use echolocation, kind of like bats, to find objects. So bats have to use it because they don't see super well, but dolphins can see very well and they use echolocation. They're probably very good at finding, I would imagine. I don't know. I've never had like a dolphin as a pet. I don't know if they'd be good at like fetch or something. Maybe. All right. I'm going to go ahead and show everyone the whole page. That way, if there's anything you need to fix or to change or to add to your page, you can go ahead and do that.